Yep, back-to-back SEC home games. Certainly excited for our fan base. Get a chance to enjoy Athens and create a great environment for what you don't get to do very often, which is play a football game at home. They're few and far between when you base it on an entire year, and excited to see our fan base come out and see if our team can continue to get better and grow.
First question is from Anthony Dasher of UGAsports.com.
Morning, Coach. When you were talking about the other team yesterday, you mentioned, how unique and connected everyone, seemed to be. I was just wondering if you could maybe elaborate on that uniqueness a little bit and kind of what specifically you attribute to making it that way.
Well, so many groups within our team that have been together. This is, kind of the class that you start get your upperclassmen that went through COVID, went through, a tough year when we didn't get to play in front of large crowds, and, they bonded. And then you've got the freshman class and sophomore class, which make up most of your team. So every group's a little different. Every team's a little different in terms of the personality they take on. This one's been unique in terms of like toughness and grit. They practice hard. They practice really physical, and not that the team didn't last year, but that team was a little different. This team, we realized that we have to make ourselves unique by how we practice and how we play, because we may not be as talented as we were last year. So when you look across the board, we have to play better, and I think the guys get that. They've grown each week and continue to grow.
Thanks.
Next question is from J.P. Smallins of WPRI.
Hey, Coach, checking in from Providence about my man Xavier Truss. What has he been able to do kind of with the opportunities he's been afforded this season?
The first thing he's done is he seized opportunity. He's gotten better each and every day, each and every year, really. I mean, he came in as a kid who had not played against a lot of high-level competition. And I think the tempo, atmosphere, just practice environment was a big adjustment for him. And kind of how do you sustain working really hard? Like, how do you go out and practice each day really, really hard and physical? And no different based on where he's from geographically than it is for anybody. They're not used to the high-intensity reps, the volume of reps, and he's now become accustomed to that. He's much more physical. He's been really good in terms of displacement on gap plays and doing a really good job of creating an identity on that offensive line. So I'm so proud of how far he's come.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Next question is from Mike Griffith of the AJC.
Yeah, Kirby, Georgia put out a release about Coach Dooley getting out of the hospital. And I guess, we all think about Coach 90 years old. Just kind of your thoughts about what Coach Dooley's meant to the program and the value of having a legendary coach like that around.
Yeah, he's been tremendous. He's represented UGA for so long with such class and just a wonderful family. He's been integral to my success in terms of just me personally, from the time I was here as a player to the times I've known him as a coach growing up in the profession, and we crossed paths. He would come and speak sometimes at LSU when Derek was there, and kept in touch with him for a long time. Just a lot of connective tissue there between his experience at Georgia and he knew my wife when she played here and watched her play, and he's meant a lot to a lot of people. And I see him at practice from time to time, randomly see him at press conferences, and it's great to see him there and know that he still cares so much about the program.
Next question is from Robbie Weinstein of 247 Sports.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to ask about how familiar you were with A.J. Swan from his high school career there in Georgia, and what your impressions are of him so far as a true freshman.
Yeah, I remember A.J. well. He was a really good player in our state, one that we evaluated closely and think a lot of. He's done a tremendous job. I mean, you look at the comeback he led with Northern Illinois and what he was able to do. He gives them a dynamic in the passing game that complements their running game. It highlights, the really good wideouts they got, both Will and McGowan. He brings the ability to do things down the field, and he's throwing the ball really well. Under pressure and under duress, and he throws the RPOs well. So for a freshman to go out there and do what he's done, it's really been impressive.
Thanks.
Next question is from Steve Moulton of WZZN.
Coach, appreciate the time. I promise no triple coverage questions from me today for you. I did want to ask about Nolan Smith and what kind of development you've seen out of that young man on your defense, Coach.
Well, he came in as a tremendous athlete, probably more of a pure pass rusher that had a great mentality for toughness, and that's just gotten better. I mean, he's just worked really hard to improve himself, really in all facets. He's not just a football player. This guy's probably one of our most dynamic leaders in terms of his confidence. He doesn't really care what other people think about him, which is a unique trait in today's day and age where everybody worries about it. He doesn't really care. And he cares more about the actions and the leadership and how people represent Georgia. And I think when you start talking about guys that can be impactful the rest of their life and represent Georgia the right way, he does a tremendous job of doing that. And he pushes everybody to care as much as he does. And that's more than just an ability to sack a quarterback or stop the run. He certainly can do those things, but he can do a lot of things off the field as well.
And I also wanted to ask about Ray Davis and what impresses you about that Vanderbilt tailback, Coach?
Man, this guy's really one of the best kept secrets in our league, if you ask me. He's got thick lowers. He breaks a lot of tackles. He's very smooth. It's not the long speed that impresses you. It's the ability to break tackles and his feet in and out of the hole and his receiving ability out of the backfield that make him really unique. They did a hell of a job to get him in the program and get him there as a player, and he's a really good football player.
Thank you, Coach.
And last question is from Wilson Alexander of The Advocate.
Hey, Kirby, good morning. We're trying to something about just what it takes to build a program. And I know there's a lot that goes into that, but when you were maybe earlier in your tenure at Georgia, how much of it was recruiting and how much of it was also finding out, like, schematically what you wanted your identity to be?
I think your identity schematically is based on who your players are. So, you have a set number of players on your team that you may inherit, and you have a set number of players that you can go recruit. And your decision on that each and every year is really contingent on what your players can do. So first and foremost, you got to create a culture of toughness and build day by day. And we're certainly not there yet, and we're certainly always looking to improve based on what our players can do.